afternoon and greetings, and welcome to a Thursday Book Chat Thursday edition of the Conversation with Al McFarlane. I am W.D. Foster Graham. I am the book review editor for Insight News, and I will be your host for today's Book Chat Thursday. And Conversation with Al McFarlane is a place where we provide stimulating, inspirational, lively, informative conversation from all avenues of the African and African American diaspora. Our live stream channel currently is shooting for 2,000 subscribers. So if you enjoy and appreciate our content, do a like, share, and subscribe to the conversation with Al McFarlane. And yes, because it is our Book Chat Thursday, I had the good pleasure of meeting our guests at an event of the Minnesota Black Authors Expo, and of course, back in December. And it was amazing. Our guest is a somatic practitioner, yoga facilitator, and a community wellness leader devoted to helping individuals reconnect with their bodies and restore balance within their nervous systems. With over 7 years of personal practice and lived experience, his work centers on guiding people out of survival patterns and into awareness, regulation, and self trust. And as the founder of Living Naturally Abundant, he creates spaces where healing feels accessible, grounded, and real. His approach is rooted in nervous system education, breathwork, gentle movement, and trauma informed practices that support emotional well being without clinical intervention. He teaches from a place of embodiment, blending science, spirituality, and lived truth to help others understand how their thoughts, behaviors, and reactions are shaped by past experiences and internal states. He is also the author of The Greatest Love Story, a reflective journey into self awareness and interconnection. Through workshops, community wellness dinners, and immersive experiences, he invites people to slow down, listen inward, and build a relationship with themselves that is rooted in compassion and presence. Now, make note, his work is not about fixing people. It is about helping them remember who they are beneath the patterns and giving them tools to feel safe, regulated, and whole in their everyday lives. That being said, it is my great pleasure to introduce our guest author on today's conversation with Al McFarlane, Brother Philip Prospers.
That was wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh, it is my pleasure. And so, for our viewers, when I was reading your book, The Greatest Love Story, I was reminded of a song that was very popular in the 70s. I think maybe you say your parents might have not heard it or elders. It was George Benson's The Greatest Love of All.
Mm.
How does that resonate with you?
I have to listen to the song. I am familiar with George Benson from my time in Chicago, but it's been some time, and I'm familiar with the title. I just don't know what the tune and the message is. But I would love to listen and get back to you. But the greatest love of all, for me, it is like a song that used to be a song that you remember, and it would make you feel whole, and you got away from that song, that message, that tune, that attuning to your body. And when you started to listen to other things, and then you came back to your roots, kind of like going home and healing those roots. And then that song is being played when you come home to yourself, and it's like you never left. There's no catching up, and you feel calm and safe, and like, wow, there's no work. I'm already here. Yeah. So yeah, that's the message that comes to the theme of my book and that song title.
Indeed, and one of the most powerful lyrics in the song says, "Learning to love yourself is the
Mm,
love of all."
mm, thank you for sharing that. It
Mm.
truly is. It's been rewarding. Like learning to tap into the the steps or just the process to like loving yourself. Sometimes it could be a terminology that may take people. It may go the wrong way with some folks. That may be uncomfortable. It may seem selfish. It may seem something that, hey, I wasn't conditioned or taught. Like, what does that mean, loving yourself? Because I feel like educationally, um, community, sometimes our homes, we're not taught how to love ourselves through self care, how to love yourself through when you're feeling unsafe, how to love yourself when you can feel the surge of energy. Because we all have energy. You know, that's already scientifically proven through our heartbeat. The electromagnetic field is expansive, and when you're able to not allow that surge of energy in a form of anxiety, in the form of feeling lonely, get the best of you can sit with it, bring it back in, and rest and affirm yourself. I love you. Like if people would practice that, I truly feel that we will have a revolutionary return to ourselves and community that was destroyed, disenfranchised from how society is set up now, from our families not being connected, and we're not having that interwovenness of connectedness of oneness of ourselves and our spiritual bodies. Um, but our job now is that we're not away from each other. It's just that we have to learn how to come back to the greatest source, and that's you, that's connected to God. You know, God is flowing through us all. But you have to tap into that God that's within you, the God that's communicating to you, the God that, you know, wakes you up and you breathe and you want to do the right thing. So just loving yourself is not expecting anyone to heal your wounds. Loving yourself is not expecting someone in the sky to save you. Loving yourself is for you to forgive yourself, for you to tinker in and figure out, okay, what is actually going on with why am I have this type of a dysregulation in these scenarios that's been a theme throughout my life. Self love is about studying yourself. Self love is about learning yourself, being slow with yourself, not putting any one or thing in front of you until you can establish that this is a routine. And it's a beautiful symphony. It may be some missteps, it may be some backpedals, it may be some you going through the unknown that's dark. It may be you evolving to a more confident you because you have been conditioned through trauma. You may have been conditioned through living in um, un um, difficult situations, different demographics, different settings. Your one parent was there, one parent wasn't. Whatever your situation is, that you develop these coping mechanisms, and those coping mechanisms shows up until you learn how to look at them and I don't want to say fix them, but see, does this actually serve me? Because our bodies are always trying to protect us. So self love is learning like, hey, I'm safe.
Amen. Amen. Now, that being said, and again, as it touched in terms of your bio, uh, two things. Now, one, tell us about where and how you grew up, and two, that as a wellness advocate, how your history influences your work today.
Mm-hmm. Chicago, Chicago. I love you. So that's my background. Chicago. I moved to Minnesota when I was 23 years old. Grew up with two loving parents. I grew up in a house, so we had the space to um, move around in different rooms, upstairs, downstairs. experienced some resource restrictions, experienced my father and his challenges with alcohol. I experienced hey, we need to go in public assistance, not knowing where food's gonna come. I experienced that we hear serve sandwiches, Kool-Aid, frozen TV dinners, but I experienced inconsistency um, in our well-being, and I put things so much emphasis on my childhood throughout my adult life. And I appreciate my friends, my childhood friends. They helped a lot in masking or distracting what was going on inside of me that was growing outside of what was going on in my household. So I had the term is arrested development. I don't want to say I had an arrested development, but the development within myself. It was I don't feel safe growing up inside of me. I don't feel loved growing inside of me. And your second question, when I got tired of being tired, feeling like you're worthy, feeling like you're great, feeling like, man, I see other people's lives go in this direction and their life is consistent, their life is smooth. And every time I separate myself from myself and judge myself against other men's success or seeming success or status, it was a great discomfort in my body, frustration. So it wasn't jealousy. It was me looking at myself asking, like, God, why? And then it became the habit of subconsciously blaming my parents, subconsciously blaming the system, subconsciously uh, blaming society, blaming life, blaming history, whatever. And my relationships, that's the theme in my book. It was my relationships, my intimate relationships with women that as a man had helped me bring back to me. So the work that I'm doing I own a juice bar and I own a community wellness organization. And now I'm doing my coaching has been about loving yourself, returning to yourself. You're not a victim. You can reframe what you have been conditioned and you programmed subtly. Your nervous system was probably didn't have its defense wall. So as a kid, you imprinted with how your nervous system needs to survive around your caretakers, around your environment. That's why healing in our communities is so important. It's so vital because this cycle of the same type of behaviors are going to keep happening because nothing is changing about what's making our nervous system feel safe. So my work is to build safety within the body, and what does that look like? How is that different? And not continuing to do the same things that worked for a period of time that does not work currently, because all we're doing is masking, and our nervous system is adapting in a way that's making us far less removed from the true source of ourselves, which is mighty and great and worthy. So I have to remind myself that every day. But it's
Yeah. So true, so true. Well, one thing that I was reading when I was reading Greatest Love Story is it's also about a process of transformation. Two things I think of when it affects, especially affecting the Black community, um, and how in your work would you address the issues of generational curses and toxic masculinity?
mm, yeah. Uh, Generational curses. That's a strong word. So um, I feel that generationally, this is the greatest time to be alive because it's the present. And generationally, this theme of whatever is causing harm, destruction, violence in our community, it's a gift for us, it's just the work that needs to be done. Like when I'm dysregulated, when I feel unsafe, if I wake up and I haven't done my meditation or breath work or whatever I do to prime my day, that power hour, that sacred hour, and then let's say I don't do it, then I know like, hey, this is an opportunity for myself to see what subconscious habits continue to emerge to push itself forward. So I know that the nervous system is responding. It's a warning system. So these generational curses that I know are themes that is associated in our culture, it's not the true self of us. It's just oh, this may be a charge word, a retaliatory. No, it's kind of like a baby. It's kind of like a child having a tantrum, and it just wants to be picked up. It wants to be fed or changed, and we can change the landscape of our energetic bodies, of not judging each other so hard, of not being very reactive, strong, um, having discipline in our eating, having disciplines in the words that comes out of my mouth, the way that we consume. These are all shaped and sharpened in a way that will keep us like this at each other on all the levels. So if an individual can truly empower themselves to go on their journey of healing and not associating themselves to continue to, because my family did this, I have to do it. Or if I see this in my community, I cannot be this way. And I know it's starting to open wider, people starting to be accepting, but now we just need to get a little bit more deeper. Like, what does healing look like in our community? It may not look like the same for you, what it looks like for me, but is that acceptance that, hey, we do have some pain that we can address, and how do we address that pain, or how do we address that suffering? And these little shiny things, this American dream that has us spending our money to escape our pains or to look a certain way, this is just how life is. Life is going to give you both the lemons and the lemonade. It's going to give you the good with the bad. So we just have to be more aware of, this is a test, but this is an opportunity for us to be our best. And with toxic masculinity is, I don't use the word toxic masculinity because we don't have a word called toxic femininity, but they both exist, and it's the opposite and polar opposite. It's just people that don't know how to sit with their energy. They don't know, they're not aware yet, and I don't want to judge a person in a way that's going to label it toxic. Well, let me say it this way. I have empathy for people who are unaware, because I was unaware in my book of the yelling, of the arguing, of the cheating, of the stealing, and all these things that I would do to hide from, because I wanted to feel safe. I wanted to feel, is a feeling that you're chasing. So dressing it by man owning, man being aware, like, hey, this is not about anything. This doesn't really help me. It's getting me by. Like, you're living check by check. We are living situations by moment to feel good. You're chasing that feeling. And individuals may not be aware of truly why. And that's why mental health is a big component in my work. Emotional health is a big component in my work, because when I started to see myself in a certain way, I didn't like that. And I know some people can see themselves in a certain way, but they don't know how to do the work, or the work may be so uncomfortable that they need help, or they stop and they go back to the same routine that they've been living in. So it's that awareness and acceptance. You have to accept it, be aware, accept it. Now, what is your plan? Like, we are so strong we are strong within to slow down and breathe. Like sitting, when you're feeling rage, when you're feeling lust, or when you're feeling wanting to run away, that is energy, that's emotion, energy, emotion. And there's ways that our ancestors, and I say this true of all different cultures around the world, our ancestors had ways to center into the self. And because there's so many different things of how a person can reach themselves, or how, God, everything can be a little confusing. So a person's journey can be very hard, because there's so many things to get to a certain point of life where you're good. So I prefer to just teach a person to, like, go within, within meditation, through breath work, through studying yourself, and it looks even with that looks different. So I'm not the end all be all. I'm on my journey, but we can end that toxicity, that dis-ease that I like to share. This that I like to say, the dis-ease is to allow a person to see what is causing that disruption and go to the source of their childhood trauma or something that traumatically happened. Some men may get cheated on once, and that will be it for the rest of their lives. That they may pass that to women. So that's in my book. So it is true. We pass on the hurt that we receive. So how do you get in contact with that portion of you, that younger self of you that was hurt? Can you feel it? What does it look like? What is the sensations in your body? What does it feel like? Where are you when it happened? What's the color that you feel? And then you just offer, are you safe right now? How does it feel? And then you teaching the neurological patterns, your body. Now you're teaching your body something new. Like, wait, I can have a thought, but I don't get charged. Oh, I can see this beautiful woman, but I don't, if I'm being faithful in a relationship, that is, or being respectful. Oh, this person called me a word. Okay, I don't have to, be ready to fight, or just different. Everyone has their different situations, and I have so many occurrences where I'm getting this awareness for myself that it really depends on a unique person. But when you begin to see that thoughts are thoughts are things, but thoughts are just thoughts that are not yours.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you can catch your nervous system being nervous, even before you brought me on, I was noticing that my nervous system was collapsing. I was nervous, so I had to settle down and observe what's going on. And that's an example that we go through that daily because our bodies was just designed to protect us, to say, hey, this don't feel right. And a lot of that has to do with your identity. So the identity of the man being unhealthy or dis-ease or toxic or whatever you want to say, a woman, these are identities, limited identities that's we accept it to be true. And I have my own identities that I accept it to be true. And it's the process of unlearning those things that you felt that you had to adapt to survive. And I know a lot of us, depending on where we grew up, depending on our parents and where they grew up, we survived. And we were taught to survive. So it's undoing that survival that our bodies now is surviving. And that's why you're on a fight or flight, sympathetic, hyper vigilant state. And that's making your blood pressure rise. That's why you may be experiencing overweight or some health issues because your body cannot heal, your body cannot rest. That's why it's very hard to trust people. That's why you have these themes that are steady coming up in your life. But when you can sit and just study how there's a subtle energy with your nervous system, you can see how thoughts, and you can just get it in tune just in that relationship with yourself. That's how people. That's how I'm experiencing this breakthroughs and this transformation in my life.
Indeed. And thank you for the clarification. And interestingly enough, you answered several of the questions I was going to ask you in that process. So, hey, that works. So, that being said, um, can you share for a minute an excerpt from your book?
Oh yes,
For a
absolutely.
minute. I am being time conscious here.
Yes, and if you can 135, 140.
Hmm.
Because I know I was talking.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so my book, The Greatest Love Story. My mother was struggling with her mental health, and my father was going through three things with his alcoholism. I loved them both, but I felt so alone. I remember thinking, no one is going to help me. I hated this world. I felt like everyone hated me because I had made the mistake of getting someone pregnant at 20 years old, as if that somehow ruined my life. I thought I'll never escape it. In my panic, I asked her if she would consider an abortion, but she said no. And thank God she did. After weeks and months of processing, I came to the terms that the fact that I was going to be a father, and I made it a point to be involved in our child's life. But as joyful as his arrival was, the relationship between me and her had unraveled. We fought constantly like two dogs locked in battle. I never been in a relationship like this before. I had seen violence and I had my struggles with women, but nothing like this. Still, my temper and my emotional intelligence declined. I became trapped in the toxicity of my relationship. My mother had violent tendencies, especially towards my father. And those unhealthy patterns from my childhood bled into my relationship. We grew to resent each other, caught in cycles of pain and blame. I didn't want to face my issues, so I projected some of my unhappiness onto her. I was bitter, miserable, and stuck. I stayed in her because I didn't know how to break free. If you're reading this, I'm sorry. I apologize for the things that how it ended between us. Our 20s slipped away in a haze of arguments and unresolved pain. We met our worst and became each other's worst enemies. To you reading this, I want you to know that awareness comes first, then acceptance. Those are the first steps towards healing. True healing shift is a shift in consciousness. We can no longer operate from outdated programming, rooted in victimhood and pain. I've come to realize that my internal suffering was mirrored in my relationship. Now my journey is about uplifting, restoring, and reconnecting with those I may have hurt while I was lost in my womb. My passion is to share my story with those who recognize their destructive patterns, shaped by trauma, pain, and negative triggers, and who long to break free. Healing begins with self forgiveness and the courage to let go. It's about releasing old narratives and embracing self love as a practice, not as a concept. Each day presents a new opportunity to nourish the foundations of just surviving. And through breath work, through meditation, and other mindful practices, we can reset the nervous system and rewrite the meaning of our behind our experiences. Your story does not have to be defined by suffering. The events of your past do not have to hold you hostage. They do not define who you are. True power lies in the meaning you assign to your thoughts, actions, and experiences. You can confront your limiting beliefs with courage. You can discover something profound in you. You are not alone. You are deeply connected to all things you desire. And within you lies strength to create something more significant, and that is to love you. I love you, Philip.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Uh, Now, my next question would be this, as we're talking about where we've been and where we are.
Yes.
So, what is the legacy that you want to pass on to your children?
Mm. Calmness, centeredness, knowledge of self, of self-love. You can overcome any situation with the right attitude. You can overcome any situation. You can forgive, ways to live life and have fun and enjoy life, and life is meant to be lived, and that the universe is for you, it is not against you. And how to find true love, and that's the love of yourself, and your thoughts are truly things that attract your experiences. And to know that Daddy always loved you all, always will love you all. And take a look at my story, how I changed my life, and how through these practices and the power of forgiving because I just did my best, and the power of love, that's the power of reset. and consistency and a greater foundation to grow on top of what you truly desire. And that's to best be your best self. That's the legacy that I desire to live, knowing that living without regrets, living without hurt, which it serves its purpose, but to be satisfied in the present moment. And what you desire is truly within yourself and not out of yourself. And you have it here. Thank
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, where can our viewers purchase your book?
Yes. Viewers, you can purchase my book at my website, Philip with 2 L's, prospers.com. Philip, www.philipprospers.com.
Thank you. Viewers, I say I'd like to thank you for tuning in. And thank you, Philip, for a very most informative and inspiring story about, especially when it comes to who we are from within, the persons that, the persons who have always been there, and the possibilities of what we can become by doing that self-care, and again, that loving yourself. So definitely, Philip, definitely, you can find it it's on YouTube. George Benson, The Greatest Love of All. Check it out.
Yeah, I'm going to listen to it as soon as I get off and drive. Thank you. Thank you for this time.
Thank you. This is W.D. Foster Graham for your Book Chat Thursday edition of The Conversation with Al McFarlane. And meantime, see you in the next go round.